Hybrids, they're pretty boring, right? They're all about saving the planet and reducing your fuel bills. Fun? No, that's just completely irrelevant. But Honda says, no, that doesn't have to be the case at all. And it's built the CRZ as proof.
Indeed, there's no way you can deny that this looks like a fun car. The wedge-like design is purposeful and reminiscent of the old CRX from the 1980s. Inside, the CRZ has one of the most distinctive cabins of any car. In fact, it looks like it's been inspired by old sci-fi films. Thankfully, there's decent practicality, with various cubbies and storage spaces dotted about the place. Standard equipment is generous too. Even entry-level cars get digital climate control. Overall, this Honda is pretty good value for money, especially when you consider the technology on board, and that neatly brings us on to the hybrid powertrain.
What we have here is a 1.5 litre petrol engine mated to an electric motor, and combined they produce 122 brake horsepower. Now, unlike with other hybrids, the engine is always running. What the electric motor does is come in to provide extra performance or improved efficiency. Now, Honda claim that this car will do 57 miles per gallon, but if you want to get anywhere near that figure, you have to run it in eco mode, because that improves efficiency by 10%. However, I prefer to press this button here, as it improves fun by 100%. In sport mode, the CRZ comes alive. I mean, admittedly, it's not particularly quick, because 0 to 62 in 10 seconds is what you'd expect from just a normal hatchback. But the engine, it feels responsive, it revs keenly, and this gear change is, well, it's so slick. Yes, you did actually see that correctly. There's a 6-speed manual in a hybrid, not some annoying, whiny CVT. For me though, the best thing about the CRZ is just how involving it is to drive. For starters, the driving position is spot on and you sit nice and low so you feel part of the action. Then there's the steering, which is so sharp you could use it to perform plastic surgery. And then there's the playful nature of the chassis. You lift off the throttle mid-bend and it'll tighten its line. And when you're really on the limit, you can feel the mass of the batteries making the car move around a bit. And that just makes it feel playful and fun. As with everything in life, the CRZ isn't perfect. It does have some downsides. For instance, rear visibility is just awful. I mean, take a look at that, right? It's especially bad if it's been raining because, well, there's no rear windscreen wiper. Also, you feel when you're on the motorway and you want to overtake somebody that this car could do with probably an extra 50 horsepower. And when you're travelling at speed, the cabin can seem a little bit noisy, especially compared to the super serene VW Scirocco. And while the ride, it is pretty good, this car isn't as comfortable as an Astra GTC. And if it's real world economy you're after, forget this hybrid, go for a Renault Megane Coupe diesel.
And when it comes to carrying rear passengers, the Honda isn't as good as any of its European rivals.
Now, I know there's some seats back there, but the first problem is getting to them because the chair doesn't slide and recline. You have to do it individually, which is a bit of a pain. And then once you're in, if you have a look, you'll see just how uncomfortable it is back here. I mean, at best, I'm going to end up with a crick neck. At worst, a nasty hunchback. You can't even put kids back here because, I mean, this seat is where my driver's seat was, and, well, there's absolutely no legroom. You get done for child cruelty, and you don't want social services after you. I mean, really, overall, these back seats are a bit of a joke, and I think Honda's having a laugh with the boot as well. I mean, just look at this. It's so shallow, isn't it? You can't really carry much back here at all. That's because the batteries are underneath there and they take up space. So what you have to do is just fold down the rear seats and just view your CRZ as a practical two-seater. And that's the thing you see with this Honda. Yes, it does have its flaws, quite a few actually, but you can kind of forgive it because, well, it's fun. Do you know what? I've never said that before about a hybrid.